It's interesting. I think we've heard northern Minnesota brought up several times in this discussion, which I don't know why northern Minnesota is explicitly being called out. Maybe it's because I'm on this committee. But I want to point out that we're not just talking about northern Minnesota versus Hennepin County. All of us represent different parts of our state, and I'm really unclear why northern Minnesota continues to be called out, not only in the governor's proposal, but now the House's proposal. And so I will do everything I can to protect my region and advocate for it. But again, I want to make sure that when we are talking as a tax committee, that we are not targeting specific areas for either cuts or whatever else it might be. Northern Minnesota, because it's already been attacked several times, is the playground of the state. It is, and I'm biased, it is the best part of the state. If we didn't have northern Minnesota, if we didn't have the Boundary Waters, if we didn't have the North Shore, if we didn't have Voyageurs National Park, if we didn't have the mines and forestry that we have in northern Minnesota, Minnesota would basically be Kansas. And I don't think any of us want Minnesota to be Kansas, okay? No offense to anybody from Kansas. But northern Minnesota is the gem of the state. It is the playground of the state. It is where everyone goes to enjoy the best of Minnesota. There's a downside to being the playground of the state. It means that you have a lot of public land. And we have made policy decisions to protect that public land for the benefits of everybody in Minnesota. You know what that means? That means that not only does the state not benefit from businesses growing in those areas, the local governments don't benefit from the tax capacity of businesses growing in those areas. So that is why we created a state structure that provides aids to areas that have public lands, because we all enjoy them. It doesn't matter where you live. This is a benefit for all of us in northern Minnesota. And then again, we are told in northern Minnesota, no, don't start that new industry. Don't open that paper mill. Don't do any more mining. Well, what are we supposed to do if we can't open business in northern Minnesota? We have to come to the state and say, golly gee, we can't afford rural ambulance services in our communities. We can't afford the very critical services that are provided by some of the wealthiest suburbs and areas in our urban communities in Minnesota. So we come to the state and we figure out a way to make it so that your zip code doesn't matter whether or not you have life-saving care. We come to the state and we say, we need our residents to be able to have affordable housing. We need childcare. We need public safety. We need our roads and bridges to be affordable for our local tax base. That's why we have these aids. In addition to that, we have a reduction in our population, and it's really difficult. I want you, if you haven't come to some of the places in greater Minnesota that is losing population, I encourage you to do so, because it is devastating. I have communities in my district that used to be double the size not just 20 years ago. Do you know what that does to a community? When you talk about your schools, when you talk about your roads, when you talk about individual families' wealth, it crushes them. So we are doing everything we can in northern Minnesota to grow industry, to get aids from the state, to try to encourage growth. But it does take a statewide approach to say this area matters, everyone benefits from it, and we're going to make sure that we can support everyone in the state. I think it's really interesting. We hear a lot of talk about equity in this building. A lot of people talk about equity. Homeless aid, that's an equity issue. Right? Paid family leave, that's an equity issue. I believe in all of those things because I believe in equity. But equity goes out the window when it's regional. Equity goes out the window when it's rural versus urban. That is baloney. Equity matters. It doesn't matter what kind. We should make sure that everybody, regardless of where they live, can have a quality of life that matters. So, Madam Chair, let's stop attacking one region of the state, and let's make sure that the structure that we have at the state level, make sure we're looking out for everybody. That's why we're fighting to protect many of the things that seemingly everybody wants to cut. Thank you.